In this video, we will see a demo of the column chart Excel template, which is a pre-built, ready-to-use analysis tool using column chart for instant insights. If you have a raw data set and you want to get to the insights about the business data, answer questions about the data that you may have, then you can use this tool to make the data instantly useful. The goal of this template is to reduce the time it takes from raw data to business insights. So here, for example, I have the raw data, which I can paste into the data sheet, and I can configure which fields in my data are the fields that I want to do analysis on. For example, sales, quantity, discount. So these are the measures that I want to analyze. And if I don't want to analyze, for example, customer ID, I can say exclude. So simple configuration setup, and then you're ready. You have the insights about the business that you can interact with to make the column chart, answer those questions, as well as be in a format that you can immediately export as a PDF in a presentable form. So let me show you some of the features in the column chart template. So on the left, you see the different filters. So these are dynamic filters. So I can change them to be different types of filters as I need from the data set that I have provided to the template. Then you can also change the dimension of your column chart. So for example, I have here on the x-axis, the region. I can change it to category, or I can change it to subcategory. So I can fully customize it. I can also change what I'm measuring or plotting on the y-axis. So it could be the sales, quantity, discount, as I was explaining earlier. These are the columns in the data that I provided. But you will also see two additional measures that the template will auto-calculate for us. So the template will auto-calculate first the count of rows. Let's imagine that my data here is the list of all orders that the company received. So I can name it as count of orders or number of orders. So now I have a count which is automatically done for me. Similarly, I can do an average calculation based on two other columns in the data. So as I was telling you, sales and quantity are two different columns in the data. Now I can actually do a sales divided by quantity, which will now give me an average product price. So if the quantity represents how many units of product were purchased, then now I can find out how much is the average per unit. And so this calculation will automatically be done for us. Let me go back to the insight sheet. You can see that the measure now has number of orders. So now I can do a number of orders. So fully flexible. Then let me go back to the date. You can have, sometimes you want to analyze it based on, one date field, but then the next time you want to do it differently. Very easy to change. If I want to do it based on the ship date, I can do that. And here you saw that the numbers changed only slightly because the order date and the ship dates are very close to each other. However, if your data has more date fields, you will see them automatically come up here in the dropdown. You can also apply filters. So I've put in 2020 January 1st to 31st January, but let's say I don't want to put any filter. Watch on the top right side there. You will see that now the data represents these dates, which is a complete data set that I have. And you saw that the amounts changed in the column chart. So now the other thing you can do is to sort them. So you can sort them by measure. So you see that it is sorted by the sales amount here. And let me go back to region, or let's go back to segment. Okay, we have three segments: consumer, corporate, home office. Let me go back to region. Okay, so now I have these four regions. So I can sort them by descending, which is what I've done. I can also do them by ascending. And so now it'll flip. And now I can also sort them based on dimension. So this, now you see that it's alphabetical, A to Z. And then if I want to change that, I can do that also. So these features are made much easier to do. And so you just do a click and then it'll change. Now, in one of the common things with the column chart is that when you have a lot of values in your dimension, then the column chart may become a little bit less presentable. And so the template allows you to control how many columns you want. So for example, let me choose state. So when we do state, you will see at the top here, it says there are 49 unique values found in state. And obviously representing 49 will be sometimes, or in most times, it's not going to be that easy to read. And the template allows maximum 25 columns. But if you want to, you see that, for example, the others represents 25 state values. So the last 25 have been grouped into others automatically for us. And if it's, let's say I want to only display 15, now you will see that the last 35 have been combined into this one column. And this makes the data a lot more presentable, and the template can support, as long as your dimension values can be up to 100 values in a column, it still can handle it, but it'll only allow you to display up to a maximum of 25, and it'll group them accordingly to make the data, the calculations for us. Then we have the formatting part of it. So you see that the formatting is in dollars, and that's because we have provided a format option of dollars. So I'm going to change it back to whole number. So now it'll display in a number. And if I go back and change my measure to number of orders, you will see that the number of orders again, because the number of orders, you have to display it in whole number, not by dollars. And so that's why I made that change. And you can see that the template is very, very easy to work with. The display measure, sometimes it's important to show it as a percentage because the column charts are designed also. One of the purposes is to show the positioning or the ranking of the category values, but the other is also the part to whole relationship, which is what percentage of the sales is driven by California? What percentage of the orders are driven by California or New York? So in this case, we have number of orders. So let me just go ahead and change this to percentage. You will now see that 20% of this number of the orders come from California. 21% come from all the 35 states put together. So that's very useful information. And you can also control the percentage here. Let's say I don't want it decimals. You will now see the data represented this way. So the labels can be either a percentage or a value. And if I change it to value, now I will have an option to choose the different formatting. I can choose a whole number, number with decimals, number which is in thousands. And so let's go back and test this out with the sales measure. And you see that it's 513,000 and all. So instead of a state, let's do something else, so subcategory. So now this says for each of these subcategories, phones, chairs, storage, how much sales are happening. And also let's reduce the number of columns. Okay, great. So now these are all in thousands, hundreds of thousands. So let me try showing it in currency in thousands. So now you'll see immediately that the data is a lot more presentable with the change in formatting, because the goal is to make the presentation of the data as effective as possible to communicate the story that the data is telling. And so this formatting change, you can easily make it. And if your data has millions, you can change it to millions. If your data has billions, you can do that also. Very, very flexible. Okay, now we've talked about formatting. One of the parts of formatting is when you have these, let's go back to 25 columns. And now you'll see that the x-axis labels are tilted. And again, in many cases, that may not be the preferred formatting or presentation. So the template allows you to truncate the x-axis labels. And this is especially useful when you have a longer names. And then you can say, okay, I want to only have 8 characters in my labels, because that gives me enough information to identify each of these categories. So even though it doesn't say apply and says, I know what it is. So the data is more presentable in this format. So I'm okay with the truncating those, the number of characters in those labels. So this is how you can customize it. Now let's talk a little bit about the analysis techniques that are available to you. By default, we saw how these the columns get created. Now column chart gets created. Now let's talk about minimum and maximum. So now the template will highlight the maximum value in this gold and yellow color phones, and then the purple will be the minimum value. And obviously when you have this sorted this way, this is, you can say yes, the on the left will be the highest because you have sorted it that way. But let's say you have in some cases your data, you want to sort it based on a dimension, and now you can see that it still highlights the maximum and the minimum for you. It's a very effective technique in presenting, telling a story about which is your highest selling or lowest selling product. And I'm using this example, but please note that you can use this template on any data set. The data set is not specific to sales data set. You can use it on a project management data set to calculation of utilization rates, or project completion times, anything like that, project cost. Or you can use it in HR domain if you're measuring conversion rates of the different channels in converting into a hire. Or you can use it to present or analyze the salary data by the departments or locations. You can use it for customer survey data. So again, it is not specific to the data. It's built to handle any such data. Wherever you have a dimension and a measure, you can paste that data in here and then immediately get these column charts for you. Okay, so the next analysis type I want to talk about is a threshold. So thresholds are very common way of identifying which products have met your thresholds in sales or not met. And here I have, for example, entered a threshold of 60,000, and you can see which products subcategory here have exceeded that threshold. Those are in this brownish color, and then the other ones are in blue. And now if I change this threshold to 80,000, and now you'll see that the line moves a little bit. And then if I make it 100,000, now again, more, maybe I need to go to 200,000. Okay, so now again, hope this makes sense. So this is how you can customize the threshold line and automatically present a story, which products are doing well and not. The next analysis type I want to talk about is the custom highlight. This is just if you're telling a story and if you want to specifically point to a specific category value. So here I've chosen appliances, but I can also, let's say, envelopes. So now envelopes get highlighted. And if whatever your chosen value is, you're trying to tell a story about it. And now you can say the copiers, the sales is about $150,000, and it is in that order. Let's say if you want to sort it by measure. So now you'll see that, copiers is somewhere in the middle when it comes to sales. But let's say when it comes to profit, copiers go to the top because copiers, there's obviously the profit is higher in the copiers compared to the sales dollars itself. So this is how you can tell a story by highlighting one specific category value, just like what I've done here. We call it custom highlight here in this template. Then we go to the last analysis technique you have, which is Pareto. Very common. Pareto, typically it's used as, how many products make up 80% of your sales as an example. So here, as soon as I did Pareto and I have the default as 80%, it'll immediately show 9 items, 9 subcategories make up 80% of the sales measure here. And if I want to make it 90%, I can do that. Now it'll automatically color for us. 11 items make up 90%. So how does it know it's 90%? Now we have chosen to display the value. So you see that it automatically displays the cumulative value. The template will do the cumulative calculation for us automatically because we chose Pareto analysis. And now you see that the cumulative sales is automatically displayed. But if I want to display percentage, now I can change that and it'll now automatically show the cumulative percentage. So this is how the template is built to simplify things to us when we are creating these type of analysis. It reduces the number of clicks we need to do in order to spend more time in interpreting the data and getting those business insights and writing a story that the data is telling. So finally, here there is a comment area where it's highly recommended that whatever your story or the interpretation of the analysis would be, you would want to mention it here. So let me go back, for example, here to shipping mode. And now here, instead of Pareto, let's just do a default, for example. So you see 5920, this is the shipping mode, and then what percentage of the sales is coming from these things. So I'm just gonna paste some text that I've already written something down, and I can just write this here. 59% of the customers, chose this specific free shipping mode. And you can also write more. There are 4 lines available for you to write your comments. So now once you have the comments in there, now you can export it as a PDF or print it and share. So this is how you can take this information and also not spend any more time preparing for presenting it to somebody or sending it to somebody, because now it's ready. The goal of the template is to reduce the time it takes from the raw data into an actionable insights that you can present to take the business decisions you need to take. So I hope that this video was useful. I look forward to your suggestions on how you use the column charts in your data analysis and reporting. And please provide your suggestions on how I can make this template better. You can download this template from indzara.com. I'll be providing the link to the product page in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.